Tony Stark spent 11 years across 5 movies, building suits to protect the world from a threat he was convinced was coming. Every upgrade, every sacrifice, every all-nighter in the lab, all of it aimed at a danger everyone else thought he was imagining. Here's the part that doesn't get said enough. Tony didn't just fail to stop that danger. According to a theory that's been gaining traction as fans dig back through the MCU's 20-plus films, he built it. Rewind to 2015, Avengers, Age of Ultron. It's a movie people tend to wave off as the messy one, the one sandwiched between 2 better Avengers films.
I see a suit of armor around the world.
I now possess the power to establish a perfectly content, perfectly ordered world.
But there's a line in it that deserves way more attention than it gets. Tony's showing Ultron to Bruce Banner, trying to justify why he built an AI peacekeeping program without asking anyone. He says he sees armor wrapped around the entire planet. Banner tells him that sounds like a cold world. Tony's response is that he's seen colder. Earth needs a shield even after the Avengers are gone, because humanity has to be protected from itself, and he's the guy smart enough to build it. That's not just a Tony Stark being Tony Stark moment. Strip the scene of who's speaking, and that is Dr. Doom's entire worldview. It's the exact justification Doom uses to justify seizing control of the multiverse in the upcoming Avengers, Doomsday. Same goal, total control in the name of protection. Same conclusion, humanity can't be trusted to look after itself. The only real difference between the hero and the villain here is the metal mask. So if Doom is supposedly Tony's opposite number, why does his founding philosophy sound like it was lifted straight from Tony's mouth? The theory's answer: Doom isn't Tony's opposite. He's what Tony becomes in a universe where he never gets the wake-up call that turned him into Iron Man in the first place. The weapons demo ambush that, in the film's opening act, forces him to confront what his company's technology was actually being used for. To understand how that theory holds up, you have to go back to the ending of Avengers, Endgame, and specifically to the rules the film spends its entire second act laying out. When the Ancient One explains time travel to Bruce Banner, she's explicit. Removing something from a moment in the past doesn't rewrite the future everyone already knows. It splits off a new one, a branch, running parallel, diverging from that instant onward. So when Tony Stark snaps his fingers and erases Thanos from the year 2014, by the film's own internal logic, he isn't just winning the final battle. He's creating an entirely separate timeline, one where Thanos disappears before he ever collects a single Infinity Stone, before Infinity War ever happens, before half the universe turns to dust. In that branch, Tony never loses, and that matters more than it sounds like it should. The Tony Stark audiences watched an Endgame worn down, 5 years removed from a defeat he couldn't undo, ready to walk away from the suit for good. That version of the character exists specifically because Thanos beat him. That failure is what humbled him. It's what taught him that he can't engineer his way out of every problem. Strip that lesson out, and Tony Stark's need for control has nothing left to check it. In the branch timeline, he still cracks time travel, because that's simply who the character is, incapable of leaving an unsolved problem alone. But without the loss that grounded him, he keeps going. He starts trying to engineer the perfect timeline, neutralizing threats preemptively, rewriting outcomes before they can happen. And eventually, the theory goes, that ambition pushes him into chaos, magic forces he understands even less than the technology he's used to. Something goes catastrophically wrong. He's disfigured badly enough that he seals himself inside armor and never takes it off again. Tony Stark, as a person, effectively ends there. What's left calls itself Doom. That covers the theory's account of how Doom is created. It doesn't explain why he'd want to destroy anything. And this is where the theory turns to a different character entirely, Steve Rogers. At the very end of Endgame, Steve's mission is simple: return the 6 Infinity Stones to the exact moments they were taken from, then come back. Instead, he stays. He finds Peggy Carter in 1945 and builds a life with her that the other Avengers only learn about when an old man shows up on a bench decades later. Nobody in the room registers it as a problem, but according to the Age of Ultron to Endgame mechanics the theory leans on, a soldier from 2023 permanently embedding himself in 1945 doesn't just rewrite one life. It sends fractures through the timeline that don't show up until it's too late to undo them, and one of those fractures, the theory claims, hits Branch Tony's reality directly, forcing him to fuse science and magic he barely understands in a last attempt to save his own collapsing universe. Here's where the video has to be up front. Everything from this point forward isn't confirmed by Marvel. Avengers. Doomsday, directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, with Robert Downey Jr. Returning to play Victor Von Doom doesn't release until December 18, 2026. Nothing about its plot is officially public. What follows is drawn from a plot breakdown that's circulated widely online since early 2026, reportedly sourced from a test screening description, and it lines up closely across several independent entertainment outlets. Take it as the leak it is, not as the movie. According to that leak, the Steve and Peggy branch eventually collides with Doom's world when Doom and Reed Richards trace a reality-threatening anomaly back to Steve's family. Doom approaches Steve peacefully at first, not as a villain, but as someone trying to prevent universes from colliding. The two men team up with the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men to try to stop the collapse. It's only later that the leak claims a devastating twist. Doom's own wife and child were killed in an accident tied to the very anomaly Steve's presence caused, and that loss, not simple villainy, is what turns Doom's plan from containment into retaliation. The leak alleges Doom kills Steve's 10-year-old son Jim in the film's back half, directly in front of him, before the surviving heroes converge on Latveria for a climactic battle that ends with the universes colliding and collapsing entirely. Doom alone reportedly survives, using power drawn from Loki, and rebuilds reality into a single patchwork planet, Battleworld, resurrecting everyone but erasing their memories, so no one remembers who they used to be or what they lost. If even the outline of that leak holds up on release, the theory's closing argument writes itself. Tony Stark spent his life trying to build a version of the suit of armor around the world he described back in 2015, and by his own account, kept failing to actually finish it. Doom, in the Branch timeline, finishes it. Same intelligence, same instinct to protect people into submission, same conviction that he alone can be trusted to run the outcome just without anyone left in his life willing to tell him he'd gone too far. Be honest with yourself for a second. If you strip away the mask and the metal, is Doom really the opposite of the hero the MCU spent a decade building up? Or is he just what happens when nobody's around to stop that hero from finishing the job? That's the theory built almost entirely out of things the MCU already told us, years before anyone knew Doom's face would be Tony Stark's. Whether the actual movie plays it this way, we find out December 18th. Until then, tell me where this theory falls apart for you.